We start, though, with the opt-outs. News coming in this morning that Purdue will now be without quarterback Aiden O'Connell, receiver Charlie Jones, tight end Payne Durham, and cornerback Corey Trice for the bowl game. Are these players important? Well, you tell me. O'Connell is a starting quarterback. He threw, of the 541 passes that were thrown in Purdue's season, he threw 499 of them, so, most. Threw 22 touchdown passes, 13 interceptions. He's like a ninth-year senior or something. So he's, seen his fair share of stuff. Yeah, he's going to be out for the bowl game. Wide receiver Charlie Jones, the leading receiver for Purdue. He caught 110 balls this year. That sounds like a lot. 12 touchdowns. That led the team in total touchdowns, not just rushing touchdowns, total touchdowns, receiving touchdowns, total touchdowns. He will not be playing in the bowl game. Payne Durham, starting tight end, the second leading receiver for Purdue, is opting out of the bowl game. Durham caught 56 balls, 560 yards, and 8 touchdowns. So Purdue's receiving core, wide receivers, tight ends, running backs, everything, caught 25 touchdown passes this season. Jones and Durham, who are not playing in the bowl game, caught 20 of the 25. They've got other things to do, so they will be moving along. Tight end, cornerback Corey Trice had 28 solo tackles this year and led the team in passes defensed. He gone. Got other things to do. See ya. So it's kind of a thing today. O'Connell, Jones, Durham, Trice, 3 of their most important offensive players and 1 of their most important defensive players all are not going to be at the bowl game. Neither is the coach, by the way. He took a job at Louisville. I want to talk about them in a second. But they did add somebody. You hear this? Purdue is bringing in some help, boys. They went and got Drew Brees. Drew Brees has been hired. They had to hire him as a accountable assistant, okay? You can't just bring somebody in, like LSU couldn't just bring in, Tyrann Mathieu to coach the defensive backs this week, like if he were – well, actually, that's a bad example. Give me an LSU guy that's recently retired. They couldn't bring in Dwayne Bowe to – coach the wide receivers without hiring him. There's rules to all of this. So Purdue hired Brees, who obviously needs the money and doesn't have anything to do with his time. And he is going to be accountable assistant under NCAA guidelines, and he is going to be an assistant coach. Are you worried? Personally, I'd be worried if he were playing quarterback because even at, 44 now? 43, 44, whatever he is. Drew Brees would be way better than what Purdue is going to have to trot out there at quarterback. This is just a part of the bowl process as we know it, and why I am 2,000% in favor of, once the playoff starts at 12 teams, that the bowl games relocate to week 0. I think that is one of the best ideas that I have heard in recent memory. Okay. On Saturday, Louisville's going to play Cincinnati in the Fenway Bowl. All right. Now, Cincinnati's coach for the season, Luke Fickell, is not there anymore. He's at Wisconsin. Their starting quarterback, Ben Bryant, is not playing. Louisville's coach, Scott Satterfield, is not the coach at Louisville anymore. He's now the coach at Cincinnati. How would you like to go into a game where your coach has been sitting in the other team's meetings and on the other team's practice field all year? I mean, if this were a court case, they would have to recuse themselves for conflict of interest. So Satterfield started doing that. He's not going to coach in the game. Well, that's not terribly uncommon, right? There's a lot of teams that they hire a new coach and he doesn't coach in the bowl game. Happened at LSU last year. Hired Brian Kelly. Had a nice suite, catered. Went did a nice interview at halftime. Everything was fine. Brad Davis coached the team. Except Satterfield's not even going to do that. He ain't even going. Now this was a new one on me. It's like, okay, you're the new coach. We're gonna bring you in. You don't have to coach the game. We're gonna pay you, but you don't have to coach the game. Just go watch the game. Get a suite. Have some finger sandwiches. Pour a drink. It's the last time you're gonna be able to watch this team getting paid for it and not have to coach them. Satterfield ain't even going. Maybe he's got a Christmas party to go to. One of those ugly sweater deals. I don't know. So how would you feel if last year, instead of Brad Davis, LSU had said, Eddie Kennison's going to coach the bowl game? Why do I bring up? Why would I say Eddie Kennison? Let me see how good you guys are. I had to look this up. Where was Eddie Kennison at this time last year, Mario?
I got nothing.
Yeah. Taylor, you want to take a shot at this?
I feel like I knew, but I don't know.
Yeah. It's not something that should be off the top of hand. When I was asked this question this morning, I don't know. He retired. Where was it? I had forgotten. Eddie Kennison was on staff last year. Eddie Kennison was LSU's director of player development. Who's Louisville's director for player development this year? Anyone? Nope, got nothing. Deion Branch. He's going to coach the bowl game. Never mind that neither Eddie Kennison nor Deion Branch has ever coached. They were fantastic players. In fact, their career stats are very comparable. Biggest difference is Deion Branch played for the Patriots, who were really good, and Kennison played for a bunch of teams that were mostly really bad. Deion Branch also had picked the best day of his life to have the best game of his life the day he was MVP of the Super Bowl. Terrific players. Never coached a day in their life. Okay? Nor, to my knowledge, has Drew Brees. Not that they don't know the game. Not that they can't coach the game. This is the year for celebrity coaches, right? Jeff Saturday is as respected a football guy as there is anywhere in the NFL. Never coached till about a month ago. Now he was there. The adrenaline rush is beginning to wear off after they won the first game against the Raiders, who really don't have a coach either. And then they scared the hell out of Philadelphia. They've lost the last two. But I digress. What I would like to see, honestly, because I do have a soft spot in my heart for the lower tier bowls, because for a lot of years, this is what LSU was trying to claw their way into. Okay, I grew up with this. Liberty Bowl? That sounds like fun. Not for the players. But now, this idea that week 0 can become a thing, and these bowl games, instead of having the Fenway Bowl, all right, in mid-December, where there's no coaches and most of the skill position guys, even the Citrus Bowl, which is it was a fairly prestigious bowl, still is, I guess. I mean, it's, still got a nice time slot, and it's in Florida and all that good stuff. But, I mean, 5 years ago, no, a little bit further than that, 7 years ago, nobody was opting out of the Citrus Bowl. Now they're opting out of all the bowls. Forget it. So take these bowls, the ones that don't make the cut into whatever the playoffs morph into, and move them to week 0. Give teams an exemption, all right? If Cincinnati and Louisville are playing in Boston in December, a week before Christmas, everybody's bailing. And I don't know what kind of crowd they're going to get there. It's a novelty of watching a game at Fenway Park, I suppose. But if that game was in the last week in August. Now, you're not going to be able to play it at Fenway Park, so maybe that's a bad example. But let's say they moved they called it the Boston Bowl, and they played it where the Patriots play. And you say, hey, we're going to invite these two teams. We're going to give them plenty of money. We're going to put the game on television. It's going to be at the end of August where everybody's dying for football. I'll watch. And more importantly, everybody will play. Now, this would have been dead on arrival before the 12-team playoff. No teams with any stature were going to risk playing a 13th game in August that would screw up their possibility of getting to a 4-team playoff. You're not going to get Alabama and Ohio State to go play each other in week 0. I get that. But with the 12-team playoff, you're going to get teams that are looking to beef up their schedule, especially if they can make some money doing it. I like the idea of not every team, okay? And I don't think that every bowl necessarily survives. But if you took something like the Fenway Bowl or the Bahamas Bowl, hey, give me a trip down to Bahamas in August, okay? I'll go cover that. You put those games in August, and you would actually have some real rooting interest. You'd have everybody fully engaged at a time where they're dying to be fully engaged. Let's be honest, okay? We love college football. And I'm going to watch, a lot of the bowl games. But our interest has waned a little bit, right? We watched in week 0, Illinois and Wyoming. Illinois and Wyoming were playing in a bowl game. I don't know. Is there a gambling angle to it? Maybe. But even those are hard to ferret out. I was doing the picks. I just posted the podcast with the picks for this week. 80% of them are from the NFL because you got to be Sherlock Holmes to figure out. Most schools aren't as nice as Purdue putting out this nice little press release about all the players that are not playing. Most of the time you got to dig, including at LSU. And some of that is players in the transfer portal and players coming in from the transfer portal. They want to wait until after signing day to make those announcements. I get it. But we cover LSU every day, right? Mario, is Jaden Daniels playing in the bowl game?
No idea.
Is he going to start if he does play?
Yeah.
I don't know. B.J. Ojolari had a very nicely written, farewell to the university. Didn't say he was playing a bowl game or not. Is he playing a bowl game?
No idea.
I don't know. And I cover that team. I mean, can you? If we tried to do this, we really ought to try to do this next week. We'll keep score. I'll ask Jimmy to borrow the blue book. We'll sit here and we'll try to pick out LSU's 22 starters for the bowl game. Got to do it next week, not the day before. I could probably get that. All right. We'll just take a shot at this.
Sounds fun.
2 weeks before the game, see how we do. All right. We'll put it in. We'll carve out a segment. We'll try and do this next week. Whew. Anyway, so a little bit newsy here today. Purdue, the comings and goings.